Hi everybody, this is Grumpy Old Men. What show is it? Number 290?
Yeah.
Feels like it.
We've sold the syndication. We'll be appearing on your local TV station after the local news,
We're
5 days a week.
Mopping ourselves down. We're a little bit moist.
God, it's hot today.
Why don't it's hot? We were walking halfway around Thailand.
We walked a block.
It's a very big block.
All right, yeah.
I
Fair
remember when
enough.
I was in the United States, whenever I asked for directions, it was always 3 blocks that away. Everything was 3 blocks.
Yeah. That's in our Constitution.
Everything is 3 blocks.
Yes.
And we won't be talking about that.
Damn you, King George!
Now, we've got a plethora of questions from people today. I'm very glad to say that almost none of them are about you. So pretty much, you may as well go. We don't need you. That was Steve Ross, everybody. Thank you, Steve, for coming.
God damn it, I live here.
By the way, Steve, yes, he does. I'm not going to finish your turtle for you. Steve has his own channel, and it's called Steve Ross.
Go figure. With an E.
With an E. Steve Ross with an E. And Steve Rossa. And if you'd like to watch Steve's videos, you're well entitled to.
They're free.
At your own discretion.
They're free. Yeah, how can you say no? Free videos. Where do you get free videos except on my channel?
Now, we do need to start talking today, Steve, about retirement. Obviously, we are both in Thailand, retirement age. Yeah. Strangely, when you apply for it in Thailand, keep awake here, all right?
I'm awake. I never knew that.
Are you taking notes?
No, but I never knew the difference between O and OA.
Well, so if you do apply for it in Thailand, you don't need a few things. One of them is health insurance, and the other one is, oh God, I should be remembered. I've been reading so much about it this week, I'm a little bit deluged with information. But there has been chatter in the media, and it's come mostly from the Deputy Police Commissioner, who used to be the Deputy Immigration Commissioner, got into a bit of a scuffle with the head of police. That's a long story. But anyway, Surachat Hakpan, he's the Deputy Police Commissioner. He said in the wake of the bikie gang sort of roundup that's been going on, he said we're going to have to make it more difficult for people to get these retirement visas because they're being abused by the Chinese and by these bikie gangs, and I'm sure by a few others. So the fear is that going to have to make it more difficult. It means the qualifications may increase, so we might have to be fronting up with more money each year in our bank account. And not just you, Steve. There's a whole lot of people. There's thousands and thousands of people.
Well, I hope so. I want to get lost in the crowd. I don't want to stand out.
No. You are not the only person in Thailand with a retirement visa. And remember, don't touch the table. By the way, we're on a wide-angled lens today, and it's not because we've put on weight or anything. It's because, just because. So, in the wake of all that, it's going to be probably a little bit more difficult in the future to qualify to get one of these retirement visas, or indeed renew it, because you have to renew them annually. Don't you know?
Yes.
So, the issue is, around Southeast Asia, is Thailand the best place to retire? Is it becoming increasingly difficult? Are people starting to look to shores beyond? Why? I mean, you chose Thailand because you had a history here, because you can speak Thai.
Yeah, so for me, that question is no. I can't answer that. I have never wanted to live anywhere else. Like I have said before, I read every book on Thailand in the New York City 42nd Street branch of the Public Library. I did not read any books about Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar, Vietnam, or Timbuktu.
Philippines.
The Philippines.
Don't forget the Philippines.
I don't know anything about those countries. I don't want to know anything about those countries. I worked hard for 25 years to come here. And yes, it's way more difficult, and that was a surprise when I got here. In the 80s, when I lived here, you could walk into immigration, slip the guy 500 baht, and have any visa you wanted. And now that has changed. So yes, it is becoming more difficult.
The biggest change has been in recent times has been the insistence of having health insurance for people applying from outside the country. I think a lot of that was based around the COVID at the time, but it's staying there, and a lot of people are worried that the people applying from within Thailand may at some stage have to get health insurance as well. My question to those people is, what are you doing now? If you don't have health insurance, what are you doing? So
Yeah, I'm trying to stay healthy.
and how many cigarettes a day do you smoke?
Yeah, a pack a day, sometimes more. But
But
I light incense every morning at my Buddha shrine, so I'm covered.
Right.
I've got the same health insurance they've got. No, they've got the 30 baht scheme. Other than that, I insure my life the same way all my neighbors do, with prayer and ritual and incense, and looking both ways before you drive across the four-way intersection that doesn't have a light or a stop sign. You know, that's the best health insurance. Be careful.
yeah, look, a lot of people are self-insured either by looking after their own health or by, if they have to go to the doctor or the hospital, they pay for it themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing is, these days, if you have a serious accident or you need an operation, you've got to stay in hospital for a week, a lot of people can't afford that.
No.
So, but then there's those people that say, well, that 50 to 100,000 baht that you may pay for health insurance each year, and it can be more if you have, if you're older or you need a higher grade of insurance. They say, well, it's not worth it because they won't pay out anyway. And I think most time, we only hear, of course, people don't post on their Facebook page, oh, my health insurance paid for my... They only complain when it doesn't work out.
When it's broke.
And remember, health insurance companies, their business is paying you as little as they possibly can. That's their business model.
Yeah, they're betting that you'll stay healthy, and you're betting that you'll get sick. So they've got the advantage in a way, because you're working every day to stay healthy. Most of us. You know, I ride the bicycle every day. I avoid sugar. I avoid fats. I avoid carbs, and I smoke a pack a day. But I mean, I'm working every day to stay healthy. I'm working to stay out of the hospital. So they're betting on me. I'm betting that I'll fail in that endeavor when I pay into insurance, which I did for many, many years. So yeah, they've got the upper hand. Their business model is sound.
So it's going to be an interesting situation, and look, nothing has been decided yet. Surachat Hakpan has mentioned in a couple of articles this week that he was going to ask the next parliament to review it. Oh, for me? You're going to play mother?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Quite all right.
Oh, very nice. Cheers.
Pip pip.
And have you got the cucumber sandwiches?
No, but I have been tapped to be the next Doctor Who, so...
Certainly won't be James Bond. So that's the retirement situation. Don't get too worried about it at the moment. I also think that there could be like a grandfather clause in it, saying that if you already have a visa, then you can have it at the old cost. But for people applying for visas in the future, I'm pretty sure that there will be a grandfather clause.
And then that will change 3 years later, and then it will change again 3 years after that. Yeah. So live for today. Carpe diem, people.
And you must have seen a movie over the past week, because you brought up this
Yeah.
next topic, called A Man Called Otto.
Yes.
Tell me what you thought. It was on Netflix, by the way.
Well, it was a very sweet little movie. I think it was a vanity project by Tom Hanks because he wanted to work with his son, though they don't appear in any scenes together.
That's true.
Yeah, they don't. And he has another son who was
They can't be in the same because his
he's
son
young
plays
him. Yeah,
plays him
so
when
they
he's
can't
young.
be.
Yes.
And there was one scene where they computer generated Tom Hanks's face as a younger Tom Hanks when he's breaking up with his friend over the car because his friend bought a Ford or a Toyota. And at any rate, the reason I thought about that is because it struck me, it's a trope. The grumpy, crusty, nasty old man in the neighborhood who's mean to everybody, Because 3 years ago his wife died of cancer, and she was the love of his life. And there's actually a line in this movie. He says, I lived for Sonia, and when Sonia was gone, there was nothing left to live for. So you've got a list of movies that follow this trope, the crusty old man. What are some of those movies?
Well, I think one of the better ones, certainly one I've seen, is Up.
Up, the cartoon, right?
Was a beautiful little movie.
And the first 5 minutes of it are a separate movie. The first 5 minutes are a beautiful way of delivering a huge whack of exposition without doing it ham-fistedly. They give you this guy's whole life in a montage in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And you see him marry the woman, you see them live together very happily, then she gets sick, she dies, and he becomes a sour, nasty, grumpy old man. And there's a bunch of Gran Torino with...
A lot of them for the sort of the older generation of the movies that were made in the last, say, 20 years, people of the older generation, they were often sort of former Vietnam vets.
Oh, in the movies?
Yes.
Yes.
And, I think in Gran Torino he was...
Well, and that's
Clint
why...
Eastwood.
That was so he could have a gun in the house.
Oh, he was from the Korean War.
Yeah.
He was a Korean War veteran.
And that was so he could have an old gun in the house for the scene where he threatens the kids with a gun. But this idea that a man has nothing to live for when he's widowed, all right? That women humanize us, women pacify us, and women make us happy, which I'm sure they do. Few have for me, but I'm sure they do. And that once we lose this woman, we lose our bearings. We become mean to the kids in the neighborhood, and we're always, all of these guys are fighting some giant real estate corporation that wants to take... You remember in Up, they've built the building around his house because he won't move out. And it's roughly the same thing in A Man Called Otto and A Man Called Ove, from which that was derived. And so there's always the trope of fighting this big, monolithic, faceless corporate culture, and he's all alone in the struggle. And then he recruits neighbors by finding his humanity, usually through a child, usually through friendship or connection with a child. Or in A Man Called Otto, it's a couple children and a vastly pregnant woman. And
she's wonderful, actually.
She's a great little actress,
Great.
isn't she?
Well,
yeah.
Not overplayed at
No.
all. She really played it well.
And it's all one note. Her performance is all one note, except the one scene at the doorway where she cries. That's the only time she's not upbeat and happy and poking at him, be happy, be happy, be happy. And the one time she's not happy, she cries on cue. The emotion in her face is tremendous. I don't know her name.
No, I've never seen her in anything.
But she's on Netflix right now,
She's
acting
really good.
with Tom Hanks,
Sure.
which is, she'll eat out on that in theater and film circles for the rest of her life. Well, when I was acting with Tom Hanks, he told me this and this and this about Stanislavski. That's going to be her thing from now on.
So that's on Netflix at the moment. I noted, but I didn't say anything. We'll go through some others, because you may have seen some of these.
And you may be an old man who's wondering, am I nothing without a woman?
And while I'm reading some of these, consider the movies that have been made with a woman who's lost her man. I can't think of any.
Off the top of my head, no. There's widows in movies, but women tend, because most women face widowhood. They grow up knowing they're going to outlast their man, right? Most statistically, men, we keel over relatively young. Risky behavior. What? Not?
Pack a day, that's fairly risky.
Yes, it is. And very likely my ex-wife will outlive me.
St.
My
Vincent
mother will outlive me. St. Vincent.
It was made in 2014, didn't see
Murray,
it.
But Bill Murray.
Now, Bill Murray seems to play a lot of these
Crusty
parts.
he was Scrooge and Scrooged. Yeah, he plays that unredeemed as yet Scrooge character.
As did this actor, Jack Nicholson, who was in As Good as It Gets.
Yeah.
playing Melvin Udall. I've seen a lot of these, but I sort of
Yeah.
needed a bit
now,
of a
in
reminder.
that, he did not lose a wife. He was OCD.
Yes, very OCD.
Very OCD.
And he met Diane Keaton?
Yeah. Diane Keaton? Was she? No.
As Good as It Gets, or that was...
No,
that was the waitress,
yeah.
the blonde. As I said, I can't remember all these movies.
Yeah.
What was that one where he was with Diane Keaton? I think it was... Anyway, you see, we do this on the fly. We don't have the information here in front of us.
Yeah, my point is, I think women are expected to outlive their men and give themselves to their grandchildren, and the neighborhood, and the church, or mosque, or synagogue. Women they grow up expecting to be widows at the end of their lives, and they have plans in place. They know what to do. According to Hollywood, we men are adrift. If our spouse or partner dies on us, or if you're in a polyamorous relationship and your 7 spouses die on you, we're expected to fall apart.
I think the police would be following that up if your 7 spouses suddenly died.
No, I'm glad. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that seems suspicious, doesn't it?
All 7?
Yeah, they all ate the bad mushrooms.
Yeah.
I didn't eat the bad mushrooms. They ate the bad mushrooms.
Second-Hand Lions.
Yes.
Don't think I've seen this one. The movie follows the relationship between a young boy and his 2 eccentric, grumpy uncles who reveal their hidden kindness and adventuresome... Oh, I think I did see that. That was... Yes, I did see that. I can't remember who was in it.
It had 2
but I did
terrific
see it.
actors in it. Michael Caine and...
Yep.
that guy. Yeah.
The Straight Story, 1999. Alvin Straight, an elderly man portrayed by Richard Farnsworth, embarks on a long journey to visit his ailing brother, and through his travels he touches the lives of many people.
Yeah. There's always some magical character like the pregnant Mexican woman who comes into his life and won't be pushed away. The little boy and up, they actually lock them in a house 1,000 feet in the air so the little boy can't leave. He's stuck there with the old man, and it is that connection, typically with a child or a new woman, that allows this man redemption, allows him to stop being crusty and mean and rude.
Mr. Holmes,
Oh, Ian McKellen, Tending Bees.
an
yes.
aging Sherlock Holmes played by Ian McKellen, reflects on his past and gradually reveals a more tender and compassionate side.
Yeah, what did Sherlock do after retirement? Yeah, that's a good movie. I like that. I saw that on a plane. I forget where I was going.
A well-known one, The Bucket List, spawned a
Yeah.
whole lot of people doing things they shouldn't.
It introduced that term, I
Yes.
think, widely. A lot of people didn't know that term before.
Jack
that movie.
Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. Jack
Mm-hmm.
Nicholson again.
Yeah.
They sort of didn't need redemption as such. They just needed each other.
I don't know that I've ever seen that movie, actually.
Scrooged, which
Yeah.
I suppose is the original grumpy old man from Dickens,
Oh, love that. Done that show 3 times. Love A Christmas Carol.
played by Bill Murray again.
Yeah.
Well, there have been several versions of Scrooge made over the years.
Oh, yeah.
The Intern. This comedy drama, Ben Whittaker, played by Robert De Niro, is a 70-year-old widower
Right.
who becomes an intern for an online fashion retailer and learns to embrace life again.
After the death of his wife, and he is redeemed by a young female executive at
Played
the
by
firm.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Good movie.
So again, the guy has nowhere to go, nothing to do after his wife dies. He's been the CEO of a multinational. He's retired. So he goes and he's an intern, bringing coffee to people, because without his wife, there's nothing to live for.
That's a nice little ensemble movie.
Yeah. Well, De Niro, you can't go wrong.
This might surprise you. Somebody's pinched the name of our program.
Call the lawyers.
I know.
Give me Rubenstein, and Schwartz right away.
Showbiz
Showbiz lawyers.
Martin Barton and Fargo. Grumpy Old Men. Somebody's pinched the name of our show.
Yeah, those bastards.
Heaven forbid, they should know better. Walter
that
Matthau
Matthau?
and Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
They're the sort of people that would pinch your name.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, they're trying to rekindle the magic of The Odd Couple. And best of luck to them.
Oh, it was a good little movie. Who was it? Anne Margaret who played the lady they both liked.
I don't know. And Margaret, who has a completely reconstructed face.
She doesn't look bad, to be honest.
Well, no, she probably had the 12 best surgeons in California or Nevada fixing her face.
She went out with
Elvis. She stole Elvis from Priscilla. Yeah, when Priscilla was pregnant with their child, Lisa Marie, Elvis was away, I think, in Hawaii, in Blue Hawaii, with Anne Margaret, and that was the end of his marriage to that girl that he fell in love with when she was 14.
So,
He built, listen, I was in Memphis for 2 years. He built a private Catholic girls' school in Memphis because otherwise her parents wouldn't let Priscilla marry him because she was still a sophomore in high school. And she had to have a school to go to in Memphis. So he built an entire Catholic girls' school, which is still there, St. Mary's.
I believe Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon are no longer with us. However, Anne Margaret, who doesn't look bad at all, I think we could probably sue her because she was in that movie that's pinched our show name.
No, sue the studio. Sue the studio. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got the shackles.
You watch out. We're
don't
coming
go
for you.
Yeah, don't go after retired actors. Go after the studio.
Waking Ned Devine, a movie I've heard of.
Great movie.
The residents of a small Irish village came together to claim a lottery prize when the winner dies of shock in the process. I shouldn't laugh. It would have been very sad for his family.
Yeah, I don't know that because he dies in the first two scenes. The grumpy old man dies in that, so I'm not sure that fits our trope.
The characters, including an old man named Michael O'Sullivan, of course, discover the importance of community and friendship.
Yeah, character development, you need it. If you're going to tell a story, somebody has to learn something. That's character development.
And about a boy, which Will Freeman, played by Hugh Grant, not really an old man.
Nah.
Hugh Grant would have been in his sort of 40s at the time.
But he is redeemed through his friendship with the child.
So are these movies about the redemption of these old men or about them just getting on with their lives?
Well, I think in most cases that is their redemption. Coming out, not to give anything away, but A Man Called Otto.
Oh, should we say half an hour ago,
alert.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
It begins with him attempting suicide. And at the end of the movie, he's very, very much, he feels pain in his chest and thinks he's dying of a heart attack, and he doesn't want to die. So that's his journey. That's his narrative arc. He's gone from wanting to kill himself to wanting to live. And that is redemption. And being nice to people and changing his ways. And the Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day. It's that. It's the becoming human. And everybody loves a redemption story. I think that's why I love A Christmas Carol so much. Because this man is so dark and so mean, and you could call him evil. The way he's written in the novel, he starts out mean and nasty and evil. And at the end of it, he is the kindest old soul that the old city ever knew. He has turned around 180 degrees, and he's kind to people. And it happened at the end of his life. It happened in front of his grave.
In reality, does that sort of happen? Go on, finish.
It means that we all have that potential for redemption, no matter how old you are, because Scrooge waited until he was literally standing in front of his tombstone to change his ways. You still have time. Whoever you are, however mean you are, however evil you are, you still have time. And for many of us, that's why we don't agree with the death penalty, because we believe in the possibility of redemption for every human being. Sorry, go.
No, I'm sorry at all. I'm thinking, though, that there's perhaps a little bit of wishful thinking and fiction in this, because I don't think people can really change their character that much. Faced with all sorts of stresses, we do have to change from time to time, but I think we're sort of set in stone when we're born to a degree. Our DNA is going to determine a lot of our characteristics, including the way we're brought up, the nature or nurture. Nature and nurture are going to pretty much sort of decide what we're like by the time we're, 10, 15 years old. I don't think we can change that much.
Yeah, Goebbels, was it? Said, give me a child till he's 5, he's mine for life. Is it Goebbels or Stalin? Some bad person.
They're both bad.
I think people... don't judge. I think people can change, but it happens over time. If you met me 15 months ago when I first came to Turtle Beach, and you met me now, you would think these are two different people. But for
No. Why would I think that?
I've changed. I've changed a lot.
How have you changed?
Don't change the subject. But
I think that is the subject.
for the purposes of telling a story, for
Okay.
building a compelling narrative, it has to happen in 90 minutes. There has to be that one scene where he's having the heart attack and he realizes he wants to live, where he's standing in front of his gravestone and he realizes he wants to live. For the purposes of telling a story, it has to happen in a much more condensed time frame. Certainly the purpose of incarcerating criminals is to change them, right? We are rehabilitating them. So society at least believes that people can change. But yes, a lot of stuff is learned in childhood and is almost impossible to grow out of.
Do you really think you have changed in the last 18 months?
15.
15.
Yes, God knows, yes. Go back and look at some of my very early videos, because I started doing my channel about a month before I came here.
So some of the bitterness is gone.
A lot of the bitterness, ma'am, I don't hate you anymore. A lot of the guilt about how I lived my life and all the decisions I made and all the constantly running over in your head, all the decisions you made and kicking yourself in the ass until 3 o'clock in the morning, laying there in bed from like 9. I go to sleep at 9, and there were nights I was still there at 3 in the morning. 5 hours laying alone on the bed, calling myself bad names. I don't do that anymore.
Which just as well.
Yes, I have changed for the better. I don't know that it's redemption. I don't know that I can find any redemption here on Turtle Beach, but I'm finding a much more likable Steve Ross.
You're more settled.
I'm more settled, and I think I'm more pleasant. And I know, Clive and Tom Lloyd and Danny Ho, you guys, you may not think I'm likable right now, but if you had met me 15 months ago, you'd say, wow, Steve's changed, hasn't he? He's a lot more likable.
Okay.
I hope.
Here are some questions. I don't judge.
Okay.
I'm finally in Thailand, says ARG888. After 5 years, people look bigger.
Welcome back.
Have you and Steve noticed as well? I don't
Thai
think he's
people.
Not talking about, he's talking about Thai people.
I think so.
So he's saying after 5 years, I'd say maybe over 20 years, a couple of decades, yes.
Yeah.
There's definitely a change.
Yeah, I wasn't here 5 years ago. I don't know, but I was here 30 years ago, and God, yes. There's fat people. There were never fat people.
Yeah.
One of the best restaurants here in town, the cook is 300 pounds easy. And he's a Thai guy, he's like 5 feet nothing, and he's 300 pounds, and his wife is a big thing too. And they're so cute because they're constantly handsy. Thais don't like public displays of affection. These two people say, screw you, I've never had a boyfriend or girlfriend in my life. I'm going to put my hands on my wife in my
Lovely.
restaurant.
That's
They're
nice.
gorgeous. I love these, and the food, 70 baht a plate, and it's huge. I value
Hence
for
the
money.
problem.
As Carl of Carl's Thailand says, value for money. I'm going to spare you the accent. But he's huge. And I think, maybe its food is more plentiful, maybe fried foods and sugar from the West, certainly soda pop. I never saw soda pop, except served in a bottle with a straw, served room temperature in a bottle with a straw.
They're getting sort of much more refined carbs than they used to.
Yes.
So the sugary breads
Yeah.
and the...
And I don't know, who asked this fella?
ARG888.
Correspondent? I don't know over 5 years, but yes, certainly there is a growing obesity problem.
Growing. So one thing, apart from the fact that they are more that way, I find them more that way.
Yes.
Less so with the ladies, although maybe there's fewer of the very petite Thai ladies, but certainly the guys, these days, the teenagers, they're all 6 foot and looking down on you.
I think dairy, UHT milk,
Yeah.
the introduction of UHT milk, because they've never had the right kind of grass to grow ruminants here. They can't grow dairy cows in Southeast
You're an
Asia.
expert in cows.
I come from a dairy state, Iowa. And we're mostly corn and pigs, but we do dairy. We the 4-H club, they grew dairy cows. But my point is that there was never that much calcium readily in this diet before the introduction of dairy products. Now, ice cream, yogurt, drinkable yogurt,
All with sugar
UHT
in it,
milk.
though.
Yes, all with sugar and artificial flavors and artificial
Yeah.
colors. Yeah, but that calcium, I think, poing. And I think I think Japanese are growing, Chinese are growing. I think Asia has gotten into milk. Just my opinion.
Yeah, so I think you're right. The ties are bigger. Thank you. Khaki Shorts says, Tim, you've mentioned once you had sailboats and even competed in races. I would love to have any of the money I spent on far too many boats. Oh dear. That's why I'm ending up on Time Long Beach. Do you sail anymore at all now? For reasons I won't go into now, I will never get on another sailboat in my life. You know that you're cleaning when you're cleaning the table.
Sorry.
Now, look, I know that we've had a week since you last complained about us moving the camera and everything, and we have had a week, and I did think about it, but we've done nothing.
I'm trying, dudes.
It's wobbling.
I'm fidgety. You may not have noticed, but I fidget and I bump into things.
Born to Travel 91 says, hi guys, love the show.
Thank you, Born.
Tim, why and when did you decide to move to Thailand? I note here that he didn't ask you.
Yeah. He read my book. Books.
So I moved to Thailand in 2011 for full time, but I was back here in 2000 for a year with a musical pop music project, and used Thailand as my base to travel around Asia. Made a bit of money, which I spent on boats. And so, yeah, after my last boating project, and I lost well into the seven figures, I decided I can't afford to live and retire in my home country. So I thought, where am I going to go? So, well, Steve's going to Thailand, so will I. So here we are. Steve, I love the turtle that you're creating for the parade.
Thank you.
Keep up the
I
great
do
work,
too.
guys. He doesn't give a shit about how you decided to move to Thailand.
Yeah.
So this is Mark Beanland. I think we read one of Mark's last week.
It's a familiar name.
Hi, Tim and Steve. Would Steve do a Boontongs episode of The Grumpy Old Men? I'm trying to put all that together in my head.
You know, it's so weird. Who was this now? Who?
This is Mark Beanland.
Mark Bino.
Beano.
I found
Familiar.
You know, we've correspondents been sending in computer generated art of the two of us. It's been a lot of fun. I've liked it. And this ad popped up on Facebook because, you know, they put electrodes in your brain and they know everything you think, of a company in Thailand that will take a photograph and turn it into three-dimensional little 1/10 scale figures.
Oh, really?
Yes. And typically it's family portraits. It's the family and their dog seated in front of the fireplace wearing Christmas sweaters or whatever. And you make one for Dad. You give it to him for Father's Day. He can keep it instead of a family picture on his desk at work. He can keep a little three-dimensional action figures. Or you can get your boyfriend, you can get your girlfriend,
Mini
whatever.
Steve.
Mini Steve and Tim. And I had thought exactly that. Do a Grumpy Old Men episode. But the figures are solid PVC. They're not articulated. They don't move. You get one pose, and that pose can be anything in a photograph.
But if you get a flamethrower, you can probably...
That brings up another thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
But no, Bino, I did think it's a wonderful idea. The problem is right now I'm shooting in tableau, right? Tabletop, and I move the characters. They stay still in a shot, then I'll move them, and they'll be in a different position in a different shot.
Poor man's Thunderbird.
It's the poor man's Thunderbirds. It's called en tableau. It's a form of art. It's called en tableau. And but for an episode where the two characters are simply sitting like this with a paper mache microphone I made in front of them, I don't know. So far, that hasn't lent itself to any creative ideas for me. But I'm right there with you, Mark. That's a great idea.
Well, we've jumped the shark and done what Disney have done. And we're doing the real life version every week instead. We didn't even go through the early sort of animation or puppetry version.
No, we're right up to Space 1999.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it live every week.
You know, I've been watching a lot of stuff about UFO, your favorite show.
Did you?
You know they only did one season.
I know.
20-something episodes. And
was
the reason they stopped was because they got offered Space 1999, a real show with real actors and real sets. And they said, okay, screw these puppets.
Oh, no, UFO was with real people.
Oh, that's right, it was.
Yeah.
So why?
Oh, I think it was just not very good. I think that's the main reason.
Steve got it wrong.
But I like
got
it.
Wrong.
Oh, somebody else said something about you getting it wrong. They're following every word you say
That's
now.
fine. Please do. Yeah. I need that. I need an editor.
Maybe at some stage, when the show gets, maybe after the 1,000th show or 10,000th, we might actually build a set called Boontong's Beach Bar, like a real live one.
I would love to reproduce this thing life size. I would love to do that. Can I just real quick, since we're talking about what's going on, it's Boontong Studios, because there is a plastic arts studio and a video studio. And if I felt like writing anything right now, there would be a writer's retreat. Somebody, I'm building all these things out of cigarette lighters that I pick up off the beach.
Looks like from I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah. And as I have said, this is a hat. Hard hats are something you find on the beach a lot. So this is a hat. I'm going to get as many people as I can build hats for to walk along next to the float in the parade and hand candy.
Wearing these?
Yes.
Is that heavy?
Oh, God, it's massively heavy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
They're going to have to hang on to that.
The latex caulk that I
Hello,
use,
where are you? Steve?
Yeah, this is a construction material. It's not meant to be worn. It's very dense, very heavy, very rigid, very strong, but, yeah, very heavy. And,
very dangerous. That's very beautiful too.
Thank you. The reason that I'm showing this to you is because people have said, why don't you, I complain that covering the bulbous spherical head, I should look at the camera instead of my own face.
You've been doing that for the past half hour. You've been looking at yourself.
I'm a narcissist. At any rate, thank you. We put a duck up there. Where's the duck? Props. We got to fire this props guy. This guy don't know shit. This guy worked on Rust. So anyway.
So you keep telling us.
No, it's a joke. Rust was where he shot, the prop guy loaded the gun and he shot the DP.
There you go.
Rust. Yeah, so if you want to say a prop guy's bad, you say he worked on Rust. So anyway, I had been complaining that it was difficult. I'm finding it difficult to cover a spherical object with hard, rigid rectangles. And a lot of people chimed in and said, well, heat them and bend them. And I say, well, that would take a tremendous amount of heat because these things are made to hold compressed gas. They're incredibly tough and strong. That's why, of all the household trash that is dumped in the Andaman Sea, this is, continued next episode, this is...
Just checking.
This is what survives. That's why there's so many of them, because they're so durable and tough. So bending these would be very difficult. It would take a blowtorch or some kind of technology that I'm not comfortable with in my home. That being said, this little guy, and I don't know if I hold him up, will you see him? Ah, there we go. So you see how he's twisted?
Yes.
Beautifully, right?
So how'd you do that?
I didn't. I found him on the beach this way.
Oh, somebody had...
Yes, somebody had twisted him, and there's no scorch marks. There's no burn on this.
Interesting.
I don't know what heat they used. Now, maybe it landed, maybe a fisherman was smoking, he dropped it, it went in the engine compartment, landed on a hot engine block. What are those, 16, 32 cylinders or something? I mean, they're hot as hell. And maybe just in the random chance of the universe, this thing got twisted. But I didn't do it, but I'd love to learn how to do it, how much heat it would take.
So if you've got some ideas how Steve can sort of slightly melt so he can manipulate these old cigarette lighters, we'd be grateful to know. Yeah. Sulfuric acid? Just put your hands in there.
I'm thinking heat of some kind. And listen, if you want to come walk in a parade and wear a hat that weighs 12 pounds and hand candy to children.
About 5 kilograms.
Yeah. You know.
Handing candy. You turn up with that, handing candy to children.
Hey, little girl, you want a piece of candy?
Yes.
Yeah. Reminds me of my 20s.
So speaking about a real life-sized boontongs, the idea of actually sort of ramping up the whole grumpy old men and getting a proper studio and a bit of an art studio, and
T-shirts.
well, we could make our own T-shirts.
Yeah, I've
if
heard
we
that
had a
before. And weeks go by. And
Well,
weeks go by.
Have you
And
done?
weeks go-
Have you picked the font?
No.
Well, there you go.
That's what I pay an artist for.
Okay. How well does Tim speak the Thai language? Oh, really well. Next one. Any chance? So, well, I'm shit. I'm really bad. I can sort of order my food in Thai if I've bothered. You're relatively fluent. Tones and everything.
I have a functional capacity. I'm good with language. Period.
Everybody learns differently.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
tried to learn the grammar. I've tried to learn like a word a day. I've tried to learn conversational Thai. I'm just stupid.
You know how to learn Thai? Go someplace where nobody speaks English and live there.
Here.
Alone. Yes. Come here and live alone, and you will have to learn how to speak Thai, at least to the functional level I've obtained. I went to the AUA school. I recommend AUA. 30 years ago, I went to AUA. 30 years ago, I taught English, and I required that my students teach me one word of Thai for every word of English I taught them. I did all that stuff. I bought the Mary Haas Thai English Dictionary. I bought workbooks and went and connected all the dots. What helps you learn is to live in a culture where you have to pay your rent, buy your groceries, pay for your laundry, whatever. You have to do all of that in Thai.
Or get Google Translate. I have been using my phone. I've got a tradesman at the moment. He's very good. His wife is usually there, but she doesn't have any English either.
No.
And so he's got a pocket sort of press the one button thing. So it's like a dedicated translator. And so he goes, blah, 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 and then it says, the ferret has kicked the football to Rhodesia, or something like that. And you sort of go,
Damn that ferret.
What?
Yeah.
And then so I go, is the kitchen bench finished? And he sort of, and it goes, blah, 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 blah. And he looks at me going,
Yeah.
and so after like an hour of this, and all you've discussed is like how long the bench is, you sort of think, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. Learn to
Oh
speak.
my God.
That's a great old Monty Python sketch, isn't it? My hovercraft is full of eels. It's the Hungarian guy. He's got an English-Hungarian phrase book that's just full of, drop your panties, Sir William, I cannot wait until lunchtime.
I'm thinking of Steve Martin and the hamburger. Okay, you haven't seen that one.
Hamburgie.
Okay.
No Coke. Pepsi, no Coke.
I'm sure if we saw the same movie. Any chance of Steve sharing some common sayings he uses daily with locals? So how do you say, I don't love you? How do you say,
Please don't hurt me.
I can't afford that?
No. I'll tell you a very common greeting down here in the South, man
Sawadee
to man.
krap?
Yeah, there's Sawadee krap.
Oh, man
If
to
you're-
man.
If you're, yeah, if you go to immigration, Wati krapom. Down here, there's two greetings that men exchange. What day is the first one, which is just Sawadee, cut down. In southern Thailand, they cut at least a third off every word.
Wadi.
What day? Yeah. And the other one is Nai Hua, which means boss. You know how a lot of Thai people, they know enough English to say, hey boss, you boss, come here. Well, in their language, Nai Hua. In the South, there's a lot of, Chow Nai, Chow Kong, there's a lot of words that mean boss. But down here, for two men who are intimate, who know each other, who are friends, Nai
Intimate?
Hua. I use that every day because I want to be friends with every man in this town.
See, in Australia, we've got G'day, mate.
Yeah.
Which solves just about everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Nai Hua. Bai di mai. You don't say sub bai di mai.
So it's pigeon Thai.
Bai di mai. Well, it's a dialect of patois, if you will. There are Malay loan words. There are English loan words. I suppose many other. All of Buddhism is loan words.
So I mentioned earlier that a lot of questions came in for me this week, and somebody sort of went through this. Anthony Orm, one of them,
Anthony.
saying, looks like a lot of people feel sorry for Tim and asking him questions. To which
He'll take it. He'll take
To which I respond to say, ha ha, yes, I need more attention.
Yeah, he ain't proud.
Oh, God, I've lost the questions. Where are... Oh, well... So, that's about it. I think we've done
Useful
enough.
tools.
Now, what happens if you rub your bottle? Does Barbara Eden come out of the top of that?
That's quite a personal question, but oh my God, Barbara Eden, what a fox. Oh my
She's still
God.
around?
And this, I don't know, she was touring the U.S. with a show called I
I'm
Love
not
My
on-
Wife. You know, the fact that I love the story of her belly button. You know the story of her belly button?
They had a ruby or something.
Right.
Right.
Because the network, after the pilot, said you can't show a woman's belly button on TV. They
yes.
wanted them to cover her midriff. So what they did is they stuck a ruby, and they had to glue it in there. It was very painful.
Was it a ruby?
Taking it out. Well, it was some piece of costume jewelry.
Sure, there
They
you
probably
go.
took off an old brooch in the costume
We're talking
department.
about I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, and they took some crazy glue and they stuck that in her belly button, and they covered it, and the network couldn't say anything because they were in bounds, and at the same time putting a very sexy woman in very skimpy costume on primetime television in the U.S. in a time when the U.S. was very rigidly conservative about such things as women's bodies and what parts of them they exposed.
My favourite character was Mrs. Bellows.
She was the
She was
the next door neighbor, wasn't she?
Yes, Dr. Bellows was
Oh, right. Dr. Bellows was the Air
Larry
Force.
Hagman's boss.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Bellows was suspicious, but a bit clueless.
Yeah.
She was great.
And she was always this close to catching them.
Yes.
It was just always, and she would tell her husband, oh, you know, she's something magic or whatever's going on over there. Oh, poo-poo. Yeah, you're drinking too much. Yeah, Mrs. Bellows.
And with saying goodbye to Mrs. Bellows, goodbye to Barbara Eden. I'm going to talk next week about my pain because you spoke about your.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
what was
my eustachian tube today is a wreck.
So we'll be talking about our pains
Yeah.
next week. I hope
Oi.
you've enjoyed the wide-angle version of Grumpy Old Men today. I did mention the Steve Ross video channel at
Yeah.
the start of the program. I'll do it again. Steve Ross with an E on YouTube. I noticed you're over 3,000 subscribers now.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
for bringing that up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and 4 or 5 of them watch each video. No, it's funny because I do 2 shows on the channel alternating. There's Boontongs, which is the little mannequins in a built set, and then there's just postcards.
The world according to Steve.
Yeah, postcards from Turtle Beach is the world according to Steve. That's just a monologue done into camera. And yes, I know I hold the camera very close to my face. It's intentional. Please don't be the 333rd person to tell me to use a selfie stick.
You can put it onto wide angle, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I like it. I like having. I can't stop looking at myself. Obviously, I like my head big, max headroom, right? Yeah, but anyway, those are the 2 shows, and I don't remember why I brought that up. So bye.
I can't remember.
See you
either.
on my channel.
Would you please subscribe to my channel, by the way,
Yes.
while you're here? And, bye. See you later. That's Grumpy Old Ben from Thailand. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Love you guys.